Hello children, I hope you are all happy and safe. Welcome to this special English hour. Here every day we will sing, dance, listen to stories and have lots of fun together. Are you ready to have fun? Then please stand up and join me in a dance. बच्चों, please खड़े हो जाइए और चलिए साथ में एक डांस करेंगे. Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby, jump, jump, jump. Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby, walk, walk, walk. Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby, dance, dance, dance. Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby, roll, roll, roll. Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby, jump, jump, jump. Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby, walk, walk, walk. Scooby-Dooby, dance, dance, dance. Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby, roll, roll, roll. Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby, jump, jump, jump. Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby, walk, walk, walk. Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby, dance, dance, dance. Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby, everybody roll. Children, I would like to ask you a few questions now. Let's share our thoughts and ideas. Have you heard the word voyage before? Voyage means travel to a far away place. Earlier, when there were no aeroplanes, people traveled to far away places using ships. Do you know what kind of a vehicle is used for voyages? If you have seen the movie Titanic, in that there is a huge ship called Titanic. People used ships like these to go on voyages. Voyages take a very long time. Sometimes it may take a month, sometimes it may take up to 3 months to reach a place. Have you ever had a chance to be on a voyage? I have been to Singapore by ship and it was a lovely experience. Where do all these ships start their journey from? Ships start their journey from ports. In Mumbai as well, we have a port named Bhaucha. Now, children, please open page number 6 of your English Bal Bharati textbook. We will be reading the story of Sinbad the Sailor. If you have a textbook, please point your finger to the words as we read. And if you don't have a textbook, please listen carefully. The story of Sinbad and his 7 fantastic voyages appears in the huge collection of stories, the Book of 1001 Nights or the Arabian Nights. The story tells us that Sinbad was a famous sailor who lived in Baghdad. He was honest, generous and brave. He had many adventures on each of his voyages. He never lost heart and hope in dangerous situations. He overcame great dangers and returned home safely from each of his voyages. Here's the story of his first voyage. Can you tell me who was Sinbad? Sinbad was a sailor. Who is a sailor? A sailor is a person who works on a ship. Where is Sinbad from? Sinbad is from Baghdad. Where are the stories of Sinbad's voyages written? The stories of Sinbad's voyages are given in the book 1001 Nights or Arabian Nights. The first voyage. Sinbad set sail with a company of merchants on a big ship. From time to time, they stopped at various ports. There, they sold their merchandise and bought new things to trade. Who is a merchant? A merchant is a person who buys and sells things. What is a company of merchants? A group of people who buy and sell things is called a company of merchants. What did Sinbad and his company of merchants do? Sinbad and his company of merchants bought and sold items at different ports. One day, when their ship was sailing smoothly across the sea, they spotted a small island at a distance. They had not seen land for many days and felt both surprised and happy to see the island. They sailed close to the island. The captain of the ship allowed them to go there for a picnic. Everyone was excited. On the island, they strolled around, sang and danced. Some people began to wash clothes. Some lit fires to cook meals. What did Sinbad and his crew do on the island? Sinbad and his crew were very happy to see the island. Some of them washed clothes, while the others were cooking food. Some of them strolled around the place. They walked around the island and explored it. And some of them were dancing with joy. Soon a breeze sprang up. The fires began to blaze. Suddenly, the land began to shake and move. With a shock, the picnic party realized that the island was not an island at all. They were on the back of a huge sea monster, and it had started moving. People began to scream. They left their pots and pans, their clothes, both washed and unwashed, and rushed back to the ship. The captain ordered his men to set sail immediately in order to move away from the monster. What happens in the story? The land starts moving. Everyone realizes that it's not an island, it's a sea monster. They start running around and screaming. The captain asks all the sailors to go back to the ship and set sail immediately. The sea monster plunged deep into the sea. Many of the people managed to climb aboard the ship, but many sank into the sea with the so-called island. Sinbad alone did not drown in the sea, but he could not reach the ship. He saw it sailing far, far away. He was now at the mercy of the waves. Being tossed here and there, he clung to a piece of wood and somehow managed to keep afloat. He spent the night alone at sea. What happens next? Some of the sailors jump onto the ship while the others die at sea. What happens to Sinbad? Sinbad somehow manages to stay afloat on a piece of wood and stays in the sea for the rest of the night. When the next day dawned, Sinbad was happy to see that he had floated near an island, a real big island. He could see hills and woods and trees at a distance. Though he was extremely tired, He swam to the shore with all the strength that he could muster. Exhausted and hungry, he lay on the sand for some time. Then again he made an effort and began to walk inland towards the shady fruit trees that he could see at a distance. What happens the next day? The next day, Sinbad sees an island. He swims towards it with all his strength. He lays down on the sand for some time. He is exhausted, tired, and hungry. Luckily, this was the time when the king of that island sent his horses to the seashore with the grooms. The grooms saw Sinbad and gave him food and drink. Then they took him to the king. The king was impressed by the way Sinbad told him about what had happened. He asked Sinbad to stay with him and work as an officer of the king at the port. What does the king do? The king listens to Sinbad's stories and is very happy with him. He makes him an officer in his court. Sinbad stayed there for a few days, learning a lot from the king and the people on the island, and in turn telling them about the other cities and ports that he had visited. At the port, Sinbad often made inquiries about any ships coming from or going to Baghdad, but no such ship ever came to that port. What does Sinbad do on this island? Sinbad talks to other people and the king staying on the island and learns about their stories. Sinbad always inquires if there is any ship going to or coming from Baghdad, but no such ship ever shows up. Then one day a ship arrived at the island with a lot of merchandise. Sinbad was at the quay when the cargo from that ship was being unloaded. He was surprised to see that his own name was marked on some of the boxes. Then he went to see the captain of the ship. At first, the captain could not believe that it was the same Sinbad that they had seen drowning in the sea. But when Sinbad spoke to him face to face, he recognized him. He was overjoyed to see Sinbad alive. He gave him back all his merchandise. What did Sinbad see at the port? Sinbad saw that there was a big ship at the port and boxes were being unloaded. What did Sinbad see on the box? Sinbad saw his own name written on the box. What did he do next? He went and met the captain. The captain could not believe that it was Sinbad himself. They all thought he had died. The captain gave back Sinbad all of his merchandise. From the goods that he thus got back, Sinbad presented the most valuable items to the king of the island, saying, "Please accept this, your majesty. You have been very kind and very generous to me." The king was pleased. He too gave Sinbad many valuable gifts when Sinbad left the island with the merchant ship. If you want to know what happened to Sinbad afterwards, you have to read the rest of the story of his fantastic voyages. What happens in the end? Sinbad gives some of his most valuable merchandise to the king. He does this to thank the king for all his kindness. I hope you all liked this story. If you would like to know more about Sinbad's voyages, please read the book Arabian Nights. Let's see some of the new words we learned today. The first word is trade. 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 I traded my old TV for a new one. My father traded his old scooter for a new scooter. Blazed. 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 The sun was hot and it was blazing. The forest was burning and it blazed till early morning. Afloat. 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 Wood stays afloat in water. Coconuts stay afloat in water. Cargo. 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 The cargo has been loaded on the train. This is a cargo ship. Okay, children, let's do an activity now. I will give you a few words, and using the same letters in those words, you have to make new words. Let me show you an example. Let's take the word island. How many words can we make from the word island using the same letters? The words we can make are is, an, land, sand, and lid. Now you will see a few words on your screen. You have to make more words using these words. Okay, then let's begin. I hope you were able to make a few new words. Let's have a look at the new words that we could make. The first word is merchandise. What are the words we can make from this? Is, an, and, hand, hard, immediately. Date, time, media, dial, 8. Next word, exhausted. Hat, hate, hut, sat, us. Valuable, value, able, be, all, bell. Generous, or, so, sun, run, go. Okay, children, these are some of the words we could have made. There could be other words as well that you have written. Children, I hope you all enjoyed today's session. Now it's time to sit back and relax while I tell you a wonderful story. बच्चों, अब मैं आप सभी को एक कहानी सुनाना चाहूंगी. Have you ever been to a fair? क्या आप कभी किसी मेले में गए हैं? I'm sure you must have seen some fairs around in your village or your town. What do you like about fairs? आपको इन मेलों के बारे में क्या अच्छा लगता है? I love visiting fairs because everyone comes to sell different items there. I also like sitting on the rides. Today's story is about Reema. Reema also goes to a fair. She is a little girl and goes to the fair with her uncle. Would you like to know her story? Okay, then let us read Brave Reema, written by Rakibul Islam. Reema was a little girl. She went to the Boishakhi fair with her uncle. The fair was very colorful, red, white and all the other colors. Reema's uncle especially loved the red color. There were so many shops and so many things to buy. Reema ran here and ran there. She looked at everything in wonder, and her uncle felt tired running behind Reema. At the fair, while Reema was running around here and there, her uncle began chatting with a vendor. Suddenly, Reema found her uncle nowhere around her. Reema was at the center of the crowded fair. She saw people everywhere, but her uncle was nowhere to be found. Reema was scared, but she kept courage. Very brave Reema said, "I know how to find lost things. I will go around the fair and find my uncle." There was a crowd that had gathered under a tree. They were all watching the snake act. Reema thought, maybe uncle is buying a doll for me. So she ran and went to the doll shop, but her uncle was not there. Reema looks everywhere and wonders, where did uncle go? Reema then thought that maybe uncle has gone to the red merry-go-round and she runs there. But uncle is not to be found. Then Reema saw a man. He was wearing a red Punjabi just like her uncle. Reema called loudly, "Uncle!" and went and tried to hug the man from behind. The man turned to look at Reema. The man said, "Oh dear, have you lost your uncle?" Reema saw balloons flying. When she looked closely, she saw that under a tree there was a boy who was crying very loudly. Reema went close to him and asked him what the matter was, but the boy just could not stop crying. Reema knew exactly what to do. She went to the closest announcement booth. She told the person announcing that please inform this boy's parents that he is right here. Listening to the announcement, the boy's parents came running to the booth and embraced the little boy. The little boy was at ease and stopped crying. Reema was very happy, but she was still looking for her uncle. Oh, it was a surprise! Reema's uncle also reached the announcement booth. Reema and her uncle ran towards each other and embraced each other. Reema's uncle told her, "Reema, where did you go? I was looking for you." Reema also told her uncle that she was looking for him. And Reema told her uncle that little children should not have to look for their uncles. Reema and her uncle had lots of fun at the fair. They bought lots of things together and happily made their way home. रीमा और उसके चाचा ने खूब सारी खरीदारी की और फिर वो घर लौट गए. Children, I hope you all liked this story. I hope you all enjoyed listening to the story of brave Reema. But the story also has a wonderful message. The message is that at any time, if you lose your way or get lost in a place, if you find that there is an announcement booth, please do go there and make the announcement. Your loved one, your dear one, whichever family member has come along with you will come and get you. Okay, children, I hope you enjoyed today's session. Please read the story of Sinbad the Sailor once again and share it with your family. Till we meet next time, take care and bye-bye.